This is Reality Dispatch, written by Jim Mintz.
When Simon woke up, his hospital room was dark and smelled bad. "Hell," he began, but stopped short as the pain seared under his hip. "Hello?" he mustered as the sting roared to a searing throb. Simon felt the bed, wet and warm. It felt as if it had been that way for some time. He looked at his palms, saturated in dark red blood. He motioned his head down. There was the end of the Bowie knife, plunged deep into his left buttock. Panic set in. "Help!" He couldn't tell whether he yelled that or only thought about it. He could not sit up properly, but he managed to look around the shared room as much as his neck would allow from a lying position. The room was empty. He had remembered the Vietnam veteran lying opposite, watching the History Channel at an obnoxiously loud volume. He was gone, and his bed had been made. Simon looked to his left. The child who had pneumonia and coughed incessantly was no longer there. Her bed had also been made. He laid back on the pillow, his breath pulsating like the pistons of an engine. "Help!" He had definitely yelled that this time. He was sure of it. His breathing had given way to the need for attention from anyone. Silence. The sun was peeking in through the shaded window. It was afternoon sun. Weak. A day that had turned its back on him and left him lying here in a pool of his own blood. The downlights were all switched off, and the hospital was eerily quiet. Patting the side of his bed, Simon felt the assistance button. He clicked it with vigour in the hope that with every forceful press this nightmare would end. To no surprise, nothing happened. Pain. The voice appeared suddenly like a punch in the dark. It was coming from behind. Simon could not look. He felt his neck tense up. He held his breath in fear. "I said, are you in pain?" came the voice. Yes. "You've lost a lot of blood. It shouldn't be much longer now." "Until what? Until there is no more pain?" A face appeared above Simon's. An elderly man. He was wearing a khaki fedora and had a pencil-thin moustache. He smiled sinisterly as his hand began to brush Simon's hair affectionately. "Can you help me?" Simon managed to ask. The man's smile broadened. Simon forgot to swallow and lost his opportunity to ask a second time. The man's hand stopped petting and came down over Simon's mouth, sealing it shut with his palm. "Do you know how long we have been looking for you?" the man asked. His palm pushed down forcefully as Simon began to struggle. "Don't fight it, Simon, son of Raphael. You will be with the Dark Ones soon." The man removed his hand from Simon's mouth, who used the opportunity to scream. He knew it would be useless, but all his instincts drove him to this reaction. The door to the room swung open, and Simon could hear many footsteps enter. He could feel the heat as the room grew hotter. The light was changing and flickering. The old man was joined by many faces in hoods who surrounded the bed. Each was carrying a flame-lit torch. Simon yelled at them for help. He looked into each of their eyes and could see no signs of humanity. Simon felt a hand on the tip of the dagger, and a rush of pain jolted through him like a wave as the knife was removed from his side. "Stop!" he managed to yell. The old man removed his khaki fedora and was handed the dagger. He began to chant in a language Simon did not understand. "Stop!" Simon yelled again. The man held the dagger up above Simon's chest. Simon got a glimpse of the knife that had been buried inside him. It was not a Bowie knife, as he initially thought. It had an animal design on its handle, something familiar yet otherworldly. Like the face of a serpent merged with a lion, it was hideous. The mindless druids held their flames high and began to chant in unison. They yelled their prayers louder. Simon tried desperately to counter their evil words. "Stop it!" The demonic chants faster and faster. The knife was raised higher and higher. Simon began to breathe deeper and deeper. "Don't let this happen," he thought. "You can stop this. You've done it before. The knife was ready, the devil priest was ready, and the chanting had come to a crescendo. You can stop this." The knife came down. The druids were silent. Simon clenched his jaw. The room watched. The point of the dagger came down and hit Simon in the breastbone, splitting off its handle. The room remained silent as the old man held the harmless stub on Simon's chest. Simon looked around and recognized the confusion in everyone's eyes.
For more stories of fact-based fiction, head to jimmins.substack.com.